Hello everyone! In this video, we are going to look at how to find exact value of trigonometric functions of special angles. Given a unit circle centered at the origin, we would like to find all 6 trigonometric functions of angle T. Cosine of angle T is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is x over 1, and therefore cosine of angle T equals to x. Then its reciprocal function, secant of T equals to 1 over x. Now sine of T equals to opposite side over hypotenuse, y over 1, and therefore sine of T equals to y. Then its reciprocal function, cosecant T equals to 1 over y. Tangent of T equals to opposite side over adjacent, y over x, and therefore cotangent of T equals to x over y. Example number 1. Cosecant of 30 degrees. Since the angle is positive, so we will travel counterclockwise. Now we are going to draw a vertical dashed line from the terminal side onto the x-axis. We have a special triangle, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees triangle. The side that's facing the smallest angle, 30 degrees, must be 1. Hypotenuse is 2. The remaining side will be square root of 3. Now check the sign of the numbers before we draw conclusion to this problem. Cosecant of 30 degrees equals to hypotenuse 2 over the opposite side 1, and therefore cosecant of 30 degrees equals to 2. Example number 2. Tangent of negative 135 degrees. Since the angle is negative, we will travel clockwise. Now again, we will draw a vertical dashed line from the terminal side onto the x-axis. To find the reference angle of negative 135 degrees, we can find it by 180 degrees subtract 135 degrees, which equals to 45 degrees. Again, we will have a special triangle, 45 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees triangle. The side of this triangle will be 1, and the hypotenuse is square root of 2. Check the sign of the numbers before we draw conclusion to this problem. Both x and the y value would be negative, and therefore tangent of negative 135 degrees equals to opposite side negative 1 over adjacent side negative 1. And tangent of negative 135 degrees equals to positive 1. Please feel free to pause the video in each of the following examples so that you can give each of the following problems a try. Example number 3. Secant of 270 degrees. Since the angle is positive, we will travel counterclockwise. Then the point will be located on the negative y-axis on a unit circle, and therefore the coordinate will be 0, negative 1. Since secant is the reciprocal function of cosine, and therefore secant of 270 degrees equals to 1 over the x value, which is 0. We have 1 over 0. We conclude that secant of 270 degrees is undefined. Example number 4. Cosecant of negative 3 pi over 2. Since the angle is negative, we will travel clockwise. Then the point will be located on the positive y-axis on a unit circle. The coordinate is 0, 1. Since cosecant function is the reciprocal function of sine, so then cosecant of negative 3 pi over 2 equals to 1 over the y value, which is 1. And therefore, cosecant of negative 3 pi over 2 equals to positive 1. Example number 5. Cotangent of negative 5 pi over 3. Since the angle is negative, we will travel clockwise. Again, we are going to draw the vertical dashed line from the terminal side onto the x-axis. To find the reference angle, in this case, we could have 2 pi minus 5 pi over 3. In other words, that is 6 pi over 3 minus 5 pi over 3, and therefore the reference angle, which is pi over 3. Again, we have a special triangle, pi over 6, pi over 3, pi radians triangle. The ratio is the side that facing to the smallest angle, pi over 6, which would be 1, hypotenuse, which is 2, and the remaining side, which would be square root of 3. Be sure you will check out the sign of each numbers before you draw conclusion to this problem. Cotangent of negative 5 pi over 3 equals to adjacent side 1 over opposite side square root of 3. We need to rationalize the denominator by multiplying square root of 3 both numerator and denominator, and therefore cosecant of negative 5 pi over 3 equals to square root of 3 over 3. Example number 6. Sine of 7 pi over 6. Since the angle is positive, we will travel counterclockwise. Again, we are going to draw a vertical dashed line onto the positive x-axis or negative x-axis. Now we need to find the reference angle. To find the reference angle in this problem, we could have 7 pi over 6 subtract pi, which is 7 pi over 6 minus 6 pi over 6. Therefore, reference angle equals to pi over 6. Again, we have a special triangle, pi over 6, pi over 3, pi radians triangle. The side that facing to pi over 6, the smallest angle, which is 1. Hypotenuse is 2, and the remaining side, which is square root of 3. Check the sign of the numbers before you draw conclusion to this problem. Correct. Both x and y values will be negative. Therefore, sine of 7 pi over 6 equals to opposite side negative 1 over hypotenuse. And final answer, sine of 7 pi over 6 equals to -1/2. Thank you for watching my video.